I'm going to ask, how are you tackling the rising concern over the Omicron variant in your portfolio? I'm going to ask that question to Gervais.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see. I mean, if it's not Omicron, maybe it'll be some other variant. I think we are going to see more variants. This isn't just a one-off. Clearly, asset prices are well positioned. They've done very well over recent years, but perhaps they're vulnerable to downside. So one of the features we can do as a fund is to buy some stock market insurance. They're called put options, FTSE 100 put options, and they're in place such that if we do see a setback in stock markets because things get much worse than we currently assume, then of course the opportunity is for these assets to actually improve and provide a good cushion for the market setback. We had one last year, actually, in March 2020, and that actually led to not just a generation of extra cash at a time when the market was going down, but the ability to sell that put option, take the profits, bring the cash into the portfolio and buy more income shares at a time when they were distressed in valuation and set for a strong recovery. So that's what we've done at the moment. What we're really focusing on, though, is on companies which are able to sustain good and growing income, generate plenty of surplus, irrespective of whether the markets are good or bad.
Thanks very much, Gervais. Lee, how are you tackling concern over Omicron variants?
So for us, we are looking for the solution providers in the COVID pandemic. So one of the largest investments for Keystone Positive Change is Moderna, which creates the vaccine for COVID. We invested in a company since the IPO, and we believe that its mRNA technology could have broader application, not just for new COVID variants, but increasingly to different therapeutic areas. So we're looking directly for companies that can make a positive contribution to our ability to tackle new COVID variants. And we look for businesses that can help us continue our way of life, even with ongoing restrictions. So thinking about telehealth providers that allow people to continue get healthcare services even from their home. So those are the businesses which will continue to help us to live with COVID.
Yeah, I think you're right there. And Paul, how are you tackling rising concern over Omicron in your portfolio?
So as of today, we just don't have enough information really to make a properly informed decision. And that said, early indications are for higher infection rates, perhaps less severe illness, and views on vaccine effectiveness are clearly mixed. I think personally it's too early to conclude that Omicron is a game changer, but it undoubtedly creates more uncertainty, two-way uncertainty, I would argue, and that adds volatility. What I do think is it delays rate hikes and tightening due to the more uncertain backdrop and growth, but also at the margin could add some inflationary pressures if we see some more supply chain disruption. I think it is worth stating there is a bullish scenario from this or potentially other variants where they're actually more infectious, but maybe less severe. And that could crowd out the more dominant Delta variant, which is dominant globally today, without increasing mortality, in fact, decreasing mortality rates. There is some hope for this outcome, as in general terms, viruses may become less potent as they mutate, but that's really conjecture at this stage. What I would say is that government policy will primarily be driven by mortality risk, and we just don't know the situation there yet. So no fundamental change in view from the Omicron variant at present.